Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most intense naval encounters in recent memory, a confrontation between 3 U.S. Navy destroyers and a Chinese warship that escalated rapidly in the South China Sea. What began as a routine freedom of navigation operation turned into a high-stakes standoff that tested the nerves, discipline, and precision of some of the most advanced naval crews in the world. The event has since sparked widespread attention, raising questions about military brinkmanship, territorial control, and the dangerous game of cat and mouse that continues to unfold on the world's most contested waters. The South China Sea, often described as the maritime flashpoint of the 21st century, is no stranger to confrontation. It's a region claimed by multiple nations, but China's sweeping assertion of sovereignty over nearly the entire sea has drawn the ire of its neighbors and the scrutiny of global powers like the United States. On a tense morning, 3 U.S. Navy destroyers, the USS Dewey, USS Higgins, and USS Chung Hoon, began their patrol near the Spratly Islands. These waters are heavily militarized, dotted with Chinese-built artificial islands equipped with radar systems, missile batteries, and airstrips. The mission was clear: uphold international maritime law and assert that these waters remain free and open to navigation. Inside the destroyers, the crew was calm but alert. The interior of a U.S. Navy warship is a maze of precision glowing radar screens, constant communications chatter, and the rhythmic hum of machinery working flawlessly beneath layers of steel. The operations center is where every decision matters, where officers analyze radar contacts and track movements in real time. That morning, a blip on the radar began to grow larger and closer. It wasn't long before visual confirmation came in. A Chinese Type 052D destroyer, known for its advanced missile systems and aggressive shadowing tactics, was heading straight toward the American formation. The atmosphere on board shifted immediately. Communications between the U.S. destroyers became tight and disciplined. Maintain course and speed, came the order from the lead ship, but the Chinese vessel didn't back down. Instead, it maneuvered dangerously close, at one point coming within just a few hundred yards of the USS Dewey. Over the radio, warnings were exchanged in both English and Mandarin, each side accusing the other of provocation. For sailors on deck, the sight was breathtaking and unnerving. 2 of the world's most powerful navies facing off, separated by nothing but seawater and sheer willpower. What followed was a tense naval dance that lasted for hours. The Chinese ship attempted to block the American destroyer's path, repeatedly cutting across their bows in what U.S. officials later described as unsafe and unprofessional maneuvers. The American ships held their formation, executing slow, deliberate turns to avoid collision without yielding ground. It was a display of restraint and control that demonstrated not only the professionalism of the U.S. Navy, but also its commitment to avoiding escalation, even under immense pressure. The crew's training was being tested to the limit. Each sailor aboard the destroyers had gone through countless drills to handle exactly this kind of encounter. The commands were crisp, the coordination seamless. Radar operators monitored every movement, ready to alert the bridge of even the slightest change in trajectory. On the decks, lookouts scanned the horizon with binoculars, watching the Chinese destroyer shadow them like a predator testing its prey. The smell of salt, the roar of engines, and the hum of tension filled the air. Everyone knew that one wrong move, one misread signal could spark an international incident. Then, something unexpected happened. The Chinese warship suddenly veered even closer, its bow slicing through the waves at an angle that left little room for error. For a moment, it seemed collision was inevitable. Alarms sounded aboard the USS Higgins as the bridge crew executed emergency maneuvers, swinging the ship's rudder to starboard just in time to avoid disaster. The massive gray hulls of both ships passed so close that sailors could see the faces of their counterparts across the water. It was a moment that would later be described by defense analysts as a hair's breadth from war. After the near collision, communications between both fleets went silent for several tense minutes. No one spoke over the radio. The sea was eerily calm, as if holding its breath. Then slowly the Chinese ship began to pull back, falling into a shadowing position several miles behind the American formation. The U.S. destroyers resumed their course, completing their patrol with heightened alertness. What had begun as a show of strength had turned into a sobering reminder of just how fragile peace can be in contested waters. In the hours that followed, reports of the encounter reached Washington and Beijing. The Pentagon released a statement condemning China's aggressive and unsafe behavior, while Chinese state media accused the United States of provoking confrontation and violating sovereignty. Analysts around the world began dissecting the footage captured from the destroyer's onboard cameras, studying every maneuver, every close pass, every word exchanged. For both nations, the incident became a symbol of their broader struggle for influence and dominance in the Pacific. The performance of the U.S. Navy during the incident was nothing short of exceptional. The Arleigh Burke class destroyers are among the most capable ships afloat, equipped with the Aegis Combat System, a powerful network that links radar, sensors, and missile launchers into one cohesive defense platform. Each destroyer carries an array of SM-2 and SM-6 surfaced, where missiles, Tomahawk cruise missiles, and advanced electronic warfare systems. But more than the technology, it was the discipline and composure of the crew that prevented disaster. Every sailor understood that their restraint, not their firepower, was the most powerful weapon that day. Safety features aboard these destroyers are designed for moments like this. Collision avoidance systems, redundant communication channels, and real-time coordination with nearby ships and aircraft ensured that even under immense pressure, control was never lost. The U.S. Navy's standard operating procedures are built on decades of experience, refined through countless exercises and real-world operations. And it showed every movement, every response, every command reflected an institution that prizes precision and accountability. But what truly set this event apart were the unique factors surrounding it. Unlike previous close encounters, this clash occurred amid growing tensions over Taiwan and the Philippines' increasing cooperation with the U.S. Navy. It wasn't just about freedom of navigation, it was a statement. Both sides were sending messages to each other, to their allies, and to the world. The U.S. was reaffirming its commitment to open seas, while China was asserting its resolve to defend what it claims as its territory. The result was a confrontation that encapsulated the larger geopolitical struggle of our time: democracy versus authoritarian control, open waters versus closed claims, freedom versus dominance. For many observers, this was more than a military incident. It was a sign that the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific is shifting, that both nations are inching closer to the brink of direct conflict. And yet, it also highlighted the professionalism that prevents such clashes from spiraling out of control. The ability of the U.S. destroyer crews to remain calm under pressure, to follow orders and avoid escalation, was a testament to years of rigorous training and discipline. These are not moments decided by technology alone, they are decided by human judgment, courage, and restraint. The price of such missions, both financial and strategic, is immense. Each Arleigh Burke class destroyer costs over $1.8 billion to build and millions more to operate annually, but their value lies not only in their combat capabilities but in the deterrence they project. Their presence in contested waters sends a clear message. The United States will not be intimidated, and international law will not be rewritten by force. The Chinese destroyer's aggressive maneuver may have been intended to intimidate, but in the end, it only reinforced the U.S. Navy's resolve to stand firm. As the sun set over the South China Sea that day, the 3 U.S. destroyers sailed on, their flags rippling in the fading light. The confrontation had ended without shots fired, but its impact was felt around the world. It reminded everyone just how close global powers are to the edge and how thin the line is between peace and conflict. Every wave, every radar ping, every radio transmission carries the weight of nations' pride and purpose. In the end, this was more than a clash between warships, it was a clash of wills, strategies, and worldviews. The U.S. Navy's steadfastness demonstrated that power isn't always shown through aggression but through control. The Chinese warship's boldness showed how determined Beijing is to challenge what it sees as American dominance in its backyard. Together, their encounter painted a vivid picture of the modern battlefield, one fought not with gunfire, but with precision, patience, and the ever-present threat of escalation. And that's what makes this story so powerful. In a world where one miscalculation could change history, the courage and restraint of the men and women aboard those ships kept peace afloat for another day. The ocean may have calmed after their passing, but the ripples of that encounter continue to shape the tides of geopolitics, reminding us that even in moments of great danger, humanity's best defense is discipline, not destruction.